high school. Remember, Joe, too, about we're serving approximately 70% of our school-age population is either at or just below the poverty level. So we're doing an awful lot of education to people who really need that education. Somerville is a very desirable community for people of all income levels. And we take that responsibility seriously for low-income people who have and second language issues. And unfortunately, Joe, some of those people drop out because, as you well know, they have to work to help their family.
Right.
And that's something we've seen through the ages. You and I have known plenty of people over the years who dropped out for one reason, but usually it was for economic reasons, to help their family. Is that a bad thing? Well, according to statistics, it may very well be. But remember, we have over 600 students in adult education. For those students who want to come back, be 16 or over, they do it. And we're one ranked 1, 2, or 3 in the last several years here in the Commonwealth. So we do a terrific job with those students who do drop out and come back. We serve those people well.
For those of you at home, we did have one of the technicians came in. If you could not hear us earlier, hopefully, I know you can hear us now. Alderman Connolly was talking about his candidacy for a 4th term for Alderman at Large, and we were just talking about a recent report that came out on Boston.com, the Boston Globe site, which cites a Boston Magazine article that talks about the rankings of the school districts. If I were you, I would go on to the Boston.com website, read that article. It's not the reporter saying that she's doing the ranking. This was done by Boston Magazine. So let's go into some of the other hot issues that you're going to face and you're going to be asked about during the campaign, which is the delay of the Green Line coming into Somerville. I think everybody knows that we're not beating a dead horse here, folks. We're just trying to keep people informed. A 2014 deadline, they missed. 2015 deadline, they've now missed. They've now announced that it will be either 2018 with a slim chance of getting it at 2018 or 2020. What's your take? What are you hearing from the constituents?
What I'm hearing from the constituents is 100% community support for the Green Line to be here as soon as possible. That's an absolute given, Joe. Remember, there's a couple of ways to skin this cat. Right now, we have huge community support. Now, what about the legal aspects? Everybody, you saw the Board of Aldermen do a proposal to perhaps file a lawsuit against the Commonwealth for its needless delay. That's another angle that is very likely, and I'm quite sure, in having discussions with the mayors I've had, he's all ahead full with that as an opportunity. And the other side is, Joe, as you and I know, probably right there with the legal one, is the political aspect. How much energy can we muster here at the local level, utilizing our local representatives at the State House and our federal representatives in Washington to bring some pressure on it? That is another aspect. It's a 3-pronged attack here, and we're willing to go forward and try and make this happen faster than this process. I can bring you back to the Red Line because a young graduate student back in the mid-'70s, the Red Line, Davis Square, was going to be left out of the picture because people in Arlington and Lexington did not want the Red Line extend out that far. Right. Thanks to a number of very active people, including Mayor Gene Brune and the then Board of Aldermen, who pushed then Governor to go forward.
And Tip O'Neill.
And
let's not forget Tip.
I was going to say that then everybody was on board with making the the Red Line stop in Davis, and the rest is history. Not only was it that was built, but the economic vitality that has come as a result of that didn't happen right away, but it did. Conversely, the Green Line is going to have that same impact, as we've seen through the neighborhood meetings and the discussions we've had. The sooner the better, all ahead full on both the political, the legal, and the community aspects.
Yep. Well, as you know, I've made my opinion known across the city that I think we've given the Commonwealth enough time. We've given them enough leeway. We've forgiven their missed deadlines before. Unfortunately, I've come to the conclusion that the only language they will understand is to drag them into court.
And the Conservation Law Foundation is a resource that we have available to us, and I think based on their prior practices, we may have a reasonable chance of making a very compelling argument for all the reasons that many of us have mentioned time and time again, and I'm looking forward to that process and hope that we're going to see it soon.
We have a petition that the mayor has started. I would encourage everybody to sign that petition. If you want the Green Line to come through Somerville on up into Medford, sign that petition, because the more support the mayor has for this thing, the more support the Board of Aldermen have for this thing. Call Senator Brown, call Senator Kerry, call Congressman Capuano's office and tell them, don't come back here looking for votes. So, I mean, you know, the Board of Aldermen, Jack, and the mayor can only do so much. They don't have the purse strings for this. The governor, quite frankly, doesn't have the purse strings for this. It's going to happen at the federal level. So they're going to have to find the money at the federal level somewhere.
Joe, put it out to bid. Is there a private
There you
developer?
go.
Let's put it out to bid. Let's see if there's a market for it. We've seen jails in Arizona. We've seen a lot of public functions. We've seen airports taken over. Maybe there's a private developer who'll take it on. Is that? Let's put everything on the table here.
Jack, you're talking to the congregation here. I have never discounted, you know, putting things out to private bid if they can do them much better than the government
We can put our request for proposals. If they don't come back, they don't come back. But if somebody does, they're worth looking at. That's our role. Let's evaluate all the possibilities. I'm keeping my mind open.
Yep. We have one issue that was settled sometime during the summer. I think the Board of Aldermen took their vote on the health care system for the employees and the retirees of the city, moving them from the current system into what is called GIC.
General Insurance Commission, correct.
Yeah. You want to make comments? Have you heard feedback from the constituents?
Well, I have actually heard from a number of constituents who've said whatever's necessary to keep our costs down and to keep the services coming. That's a dilemma every municipality faces with healthcare costs. You saw the presentation. The numbers absolutely skyrocket over the next few years. Something had to get done. The General Insurance Commission allows us to participate instead of as a self-insured entity as we were and as we still are now. This won't take effect until January 1 of 2012. Basically, the city is self-insured. We have a bad year with health claims.
Right.
It's on us.
Right.
We now participate in a much greater scale with 400,000 other enrollees.
But the change is scary. The change is a very
change is always scary.
frightening thing for a lot of people who say, well, what about me? How is it going to affect me?
And what happened is, since Blue Cross Blue Shield plans are not offered at this time in the GAC, everybody jumped to a conclusion, oh my gosh, that the United Healthcare program that was offered wouldn't be as good, until people actually sat down, compared line by line, plan by plan, and found out, oh, by the way, I'm saving $1,000.
Yeah.
I do have all of the same coverages, drugs, doctors, etc. My copay might be a little bit higher.
Right.
Those are the sacrifices we're all making.
Information is power, Jack.
And that is exactly
they
what
had
it said.
to have the information, you know, before the rumors started flying and before the special interest. But there is one group that have been hurt. And I take it from the retirees.
I'm sure you talk about the retirees.
The
right?
retirees have been hurt because, as you know, in the old days when those plans were made up and people were working for the city and they spent 30 years or, you know, 45 years working for the city.
A 99% health care benefit
That's
paid
right.
for by the city.
And now all of a sudden we've saddled them. So one of the questions that did come in via email, thank you for your email question, was, are the Board of Aldermen, let me paraphrase it, are the Board of Aldermen serious about rolling back the contribution paid by the retirees to their health care plan? I know you told me that the board did pass a resolution to
Correct.
ask the mayor to take a look at this and that you fully supported him rolling that back.
Absolutely. We want to go from what is the 75-25 to what would be 80-20 to give retirees that extra opportunity to have that 5% additional share as a tribute to their years of service to the city. The fact that we appreciate the effort and the energies they made in a time when a city job, and to this day, even a lot of city jobs are not as well paid as some people in the private sector.
I know we're going fast for some of the folks, but there is valuable information on the city's website about how the mayor and the Board of Aldermen made the decision to go from one healthcare system to another for city employees and for the retirees. One of the things that I did notice is that Alderman White joined in with the rest of his brethren on the board, that there's going to be a significant cost savings for the city. And Alderman White's proposal or resolution, I forget which, was to take some of that cost savings, set it aside for some of our more needy retirees who may need that at some point, and to assist them.
The GIC, the General Insurance Commission regulations say that the city must take 25% of the overall savings and put it back towards applicable programs for differences here and there. The City of Somerville Board of Aldermen feels that that should be a designated program, just as you mentioned, for our retirees, so that whatever portion of that 25% will be able to do the actual reviews and studies, how much it might be, but that will certainly be the case. We are committed to doing it. It's something that during the testimony and all the time that we reviewed this came through clear as a bell to us. The mayor, his team, the Board of Aldermen, who's the check and balance here, full agreement. And that's a very wise business decision to send a signal out to the community. We don't forget those who came before us. And secondly, there are going to be people working for the city for a long time. We've stabilized our healthcare budget as a result of this practice.
I mean, it's a tough decision because you know a lot of these folks. You've been for 20-something years campaigning with these people, and you have to look them in the face and say, "Oh, by the way, it's going to cost you a lot more."
Retired teachers who are in my family. I got an aunt who taught at the Somerville for 25, 30 years. You don't think her phone is in my ear 2 or 3 times over the last couple of months just about the exact situation as she and her colleagues? Absolutely. I've known hundreds of people who are going to be affected as a result. Remember, this is for everybody in the city. Board of Aldermen, Mayor, and exempt, we're all going to be participating.
Right.
For those people who have any city-sponsored healthcare program, that's what's going to happen. Everybody's part of it.
Yeah.
No exemptions, which is the only fair way to do it.
Yeah. Election season, full swing?
Pretty much all ahead full. It's always a delicate balance here to try and maneuver your time, your schedule, and if you care to call it your family life.
Everybody wants a piece of you this season.
Well, but you know what? It's a balancing act, and you try and prioritize the events that are going to be most significant, the appearances. You try and go a lot of places, because a lot of people may not watch the meetings on Thursday. They may casually see you, but they see you in the community. They talk. Someone will come by my office, which is in Davis Square, and will come in and ask a question about a city issue. Hey, that light's out. How do we fix this? What do we do to complain about the tea? You get those questions, and I think most people, the guy was willing to spend a few minutes. He talked to me, gave me some good advice, or at least said he'd try and find an answer. When you call people back with a possible solution, they may not like exactly what you have to say, but the fact you did call back and made the effort is the most significant thing. So that's basically what you're doing, is trying to show people you have that ability to solve complex problems like the GIC, but also when a light's out on Henderson Street, you can make sure...
Fix my sidewalk. Fix my sidewalk, make sure the trash is picked up, make sure my street is swept, make sure a fire department is properly equipped, make sure the police respond. All those things is how basically a municipality spends their money.
And essentially the itemizing public safety and public education is sort of the 2 ways I look at. I think it was Thomas and Jefferson said that the public safety, number 1, public education, number 2, and then the greater good and happiness for all. Well, you can forget about number 3, but the first 2 are the primary reasons I think government exists. And from my point of view, if we can provide effective public safety with the checks and balances that we have available to us, and have the fiscal oversight, and people who have a way, who know accounting and who know how to read a balance sheet, that goes an awful long way to keeping the check and balance with the administration. And thankfully, we've got a very well-educated group of committed elected officials at the school committee and at the Board of Aldermen who know their way around a spreadsheet.
And we have some folks who are looking to get on that board. There are challengers this year, 3 challengers for the 4 incumbents.
As well, they have the right to do, and I'm welcoming the opportunity to say, listen, come on forward, show us what you want to do. I'll be very happy to debate any of the concerns that you as a member of the media, the public bring up. That's my role. I'm happy to do it. I've got a record to look back on and progress forward from. So I'm very pleased and looking forward to that opportunity.
That's terrific. Jack, I want to thank you. You are always, always, always agreeable to come on this show, so I want to thank you for that. We're going to be sponsoring, as you know, SCAT TV will be sponsoring a debate for all 7 certified candidates for Alderman at Large. That is set for October, a Monday in October at the historic Somerville Theater. More details will be coming out in the media. All of the candidates have been contacted by myself and by SCAT TV. Until we get the formal responses from the candidates and the current Board of Aldermen, we're not going to be announcing anything, but watch for that announcement coming up sometime in early October. My guest tonight has been Alderman at Large Jack Connolly. I want to thank you all for viewing. We are back. We have a full boat of shows right up until Christmas. So thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay informed. Good night.